Picking a PC case for your next gaming PC build can be a really tricky decision, with literally thousands of options on the market of different sizes, price points, and each with different features that you may or might not even need. It's a really difficult decision. Well, I've had hands-on with over 100 cases in the last year and rounded up my top 10 to make one big video. I'll be running through all of the cases for various different budgets of builds, from the cheapest right the way through to the most expensive, showing you what cases to consider and which ones plainly to avoid. Let's do this. The first case on the list today in the budget category is Deepcool's MACUBE 110. It's actually sitting conveniently behind me, and it's a really awesome budget case. With a tempered glass side panel and a sleek design, it looks fantastic. The form factor's slightly smaller as well, which I quite like, and the build quality is really good. Areas like airflow could be improved, though even for 3060 builds that we've put together, temperatures have stayed actually pretty good, and overall it's a nice budget option. It's pretty simple, pretty sleek, but with all the key features you could want. This is a great case for adding in some extra RGB fans and really customizing it to your exact liking. As with all of the cases, I'll link them down in the description below, alongside any videos that we actually have featured them in. In at number 2, and the next budget chassis on the list, it's Cooler Master's MB320Al. I featured this in our previous top 5 cases video, so less chassis to choose from there, and it's a really great case. It's built so well, the build quality is absolutely phenomenal. The price point is one of the cheapest chassis I've ever come across. You get RGB fans included, and there's a mesh version available as well called the MB311Al if temperatures and mesh are something you're really concerned about. A power supply shield and a small tempered glass side panel create a really innovative design, and all in all, you just can't go wrong with a case from Cooler Master. I've probably built 10 gaming PCs in this case, that's no exaggeration, they're all on the channel, and I'd happily build another 10 in it. It's a fantastic budget option that you should consider for the ludicrously low price point it regularly sells for. The final budget case on the list is from a company called Techware, a lesser known brand, and that's something I've tried to do in today's video. Showcase stuff you might not usually consider. The Techware Forge M is an awesome budget option with a full mesh polygon front panel, RGB fans included, and great build quality. It makes for an awesome budget case. It's pretty much on par, I'd say, with the Cooler Master MB320Al. There's not much in it, so it's kind of a case of which one has a better design in your opinion, and which one aesthetically pleases you that little bit more. So that's the budget chassis looked at, but what if you want to spend a little bit more money? Not too much more money, just a little bit more cash. Well, I've actually got a case in from XPG. That's right, XPG A-Data, the people that make memory and SSDs and peripherals, also make cases, and their latest case edition, the Starker, is awesome. It's available in white or black, has a little bit of airflow clearance as well, not quite as much as some of the mesh options, but our temperature results were pretty good. You've got addressable RGB included as standard, and this is all without spending that much more money. This isn't a $90 or an $80 case, it regularly sells for around 65 US dollars. The latest pricing can be found in the description below. So by spending another $20 on something like the MB320, you just get a more refined feature set, and it's a full-size ATX tower rather than a micro ATX case. But James, I want just that little bit more, which brings me on to the next 2 cases on the list, and 2 that I really struggled to put in an order. The first is Cooler Master's Masterbox TD500 Mesh. Once again, I've built in it quite a few times, and thankfully Cooler Master have taken the lessons they learnt the hard way from the H500M with this case. It's got a really cool 3D polygon mesh front panel. They were sort of the first people to do this, and a side panel that's actually etched with a cool polygon design. Aesthetically, it's really clever, and I've not seen manufacturers be quite this adventurous in a while, especially not Cooler Master, who can often fall into the trap of making quite boring looking cases. The TD500 Mesh's build quality is pretty much second to none. It's a great case to build, and it's super easy, and it's really readily available at that $90 or so price point. The case that rivals the TD500 Mesh most closely is the next on the list today, and I really struggle to kind of split these apart in terms of which is better and which is worse, and that's the Corsair 4000 series. Now, I say 4000 series because Corsair have got a few different options here. On the budget end, you've got the 4000D airflow. This is great, it's got a mesh front panel, but doesn't have any RGB fans, which is a bit of a shame. And then you've also got the 4000X iCUE RGB. This does have RGB fans. It's got a really great kind of mini Commander RGB interface as well, an RGB hub, which is nice to see, and a glass front panel. This case looks fantastic and build quality wise really feels like a step up from the TD500 mesh, but you will pay a little bit more for it. If RGB is not quite what you're bothered about, or you've already got some fans to use already, then the airflow version is also a great shout. And the 4000 series from Corsair is actually really nice. Not quite as nice though as the next case on the list today, and one that's also situated behind me from none other than NZXT. The H510 Elite was one of my first NZXT chassis I ever got hands on with. They actually sent it out and it's been great to work with them recently. They don't know I'm making this video and none of the manufacturers are aware of it, but the 510 Elite is something a bit special. Now, admittedly, the airflow is not great. It could definitely be improved, but temperature-wise, we did have some decent results. You get 2 large fans included at the front and an exhaust, so 3 fans in total, which is more than what you'll find on the 4000D especially. And they are NZXT's signature ring fans with the addressable RGB, the included RGB hub, and you even get an RGB strip built into the top of the case. This could all be controlled in NZXT's CAM software, and it's fantastic. We recently did a build guide in the H510, which you can find in the card section now, and our most popular video of the year is in a H510 Elite. I love the two-tone black and white aesthetic. I think NZXT have killed it on this one, and I'm a bit of a sucker for white cases. Talking of white cases, the next chassis on the list today, we at number 6, number 7 at this point, is Corsair's iCUE 5000 series. Corsair make another entry to the list on the higher end of the spectrum with the new 5000 series. We recently did a full custom water-cooled build in the 5000X RGB, and it looked fantastic. It's a great case to build in with some really unique radiator mounting options that allow you to showcase your build like nothing else I've really seen in a while. With a rear cable management door, plenty of cable management space, and also a vertical GPU mount, it really does tick all of the boxes. Airflow in this case is really good as well, despite the large glass panel, and like the 4000 series, an airflow version is also available. So, I mean, no complaints from me. I actually prefer this to Corsair's new 7000 series, which is even bigger. I mean, it's absolutely huge, and you can find our build with that case in the card section now. The 5000X just feels pretty well proportioned and great for a custom loop water-cooled system. The final 2 cases on the list then are what I call a little bit different. I've gone through the best budget, mid-range and high-end options, and hopefully there's a case in here already for whatever budget you might be working in. But what if you want something a bit special? You want something just a little bit different? Well, the next 2 chassis cover those bases really well. The first is actually this one, LianLi's O11D series. Now, this is the O11D Mini. I actually prefer the Mini as I think the full-size O11D is absolutely massive. This does have a few quirks in terms of clearance for radiators and stuff, especially struggling to install a 360mm at the top, which is a bit of a shame. But the really cool kind of cuboid glass design is awesome. And as far as cases go, aesthetically, it doesn't get much better than the O11D Mini. Build quality, second to none. Support for GPUs is, there's a lot of support for GPUs. It's quite a big case despite being a mini version. One really weird thing about the Mini is that you have to use an SFX power supply. Now, that's what I mean when I say these last 2 options are a bit out there. Probably not that great if you're a first-time builder and you're looking for a more easy, simple system, as these 2 cases aren't going to provide that. But the O11D Mini and the full-size version are great bets. So what about the final case on the list? We've gone through 9 cases, from the cheapest to the most expensive. What about something with a bit of wow factor, a bit of pizzazz, a bit of spark, a bit of fire? It is, of course, the NZXT H1! NZXT are going to hate me for that comment. That is, of course, in reference to some of the drama around the H1. But on a serious note, this is actually one of the coolest cases on the market. You will notice as well, this one is sealed up. It is the updated version with the fixed PCIe riser that, of course, has no safety issues or concerns. And NZXT, it should be noted, have worked hard to kind of squash out any of the issues people did have with the H1 and, of course, any safety defects, shall we call it. The reason this case is on the list, though, is because NZXT have actually done something pretty extraordinary here. They've created a case, a cooler, and a power supply all in one in a really unique form factor. If you want a case that's like nothing else, the H1 really ticks that box better than any other chassis on the market. Apart from that weird kind of trapezoid case that I was talking to someone about the other day that you probably shouldn't buy because it just doesn't make any sense as a computer case, but this does. Airflow's good with 2 vents down the left and the right hand side, great for GPU temperatures. Integrated CPU liquid cooling is also amazing to see, and a 650 watt SFX AL power supply comes included by default. This is expensive. It's the most expensive case on the list despite its small size, but that is of course because you get that cooler and the power supply included. Once again, if this is your first build, yeah, just be careful because you are going to have a more difficult build process with any mini ITX case. Any small form factor chassis for a first builder is going to need a bit more time, a bit more patience, and a little bit more experience. That's not to say it can't be done, it absolutely can, and we will be doing a detailed build guide in the H1 very soon. If you want an easy case to build in, it doesn't get much better than something like Cooler Master's MB320L or their TD500 mesh. Likewise, the Corsair 4000 and 5000 series are also great bets. And with that, that pretty much wraps it up for my top 10 case roundup of 2021 and probably 2022 because these cases really will stand the test of time. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out all the cases linked in the description below. Subscribe to the channel to see more from me if you'd like to do so. Thanks for watching though, and as always, we'll see you in the next one.